if you see here, right, the option is run immediately. But if you would like to schedule some actions, then we are having an option called add schedule path. So here, so do you want like execute sometime later, or do you want execute like any specific time period? So you can go with the schedule path. So you can give the corresponding path name, and then you can go for the time source. So like based on the field available on our based on the field available on our account object, so we are going to choose this corresponding option. So now for example, I would like to send an email based on the SLA expiration date of our account object. So simply I am choosing this option, and then offset number, offset options. So I am going to choose these corresponding value. So that means, so here we are having an option called months after. In our process builder or like workflow, we are having days and then hours. But here, if you would like to go with options called like minutes before or minutes after, and a similar way, hours before, hours after, days before, days after, months before, months after, you need to give the corresponding number here. So for example, if I would like to send in an email after like 1 month, so then what I'm going to do, so months after 1 month, simply I'm selecting like this. So similar way, if I would like to send an email after 1 day or like after 2 days, so whatever the number you want, you need to select the corresponding number here, and then whatever the options like day or like hour or like month or minute, so whatever you want, you can choose it here. So if you are like choosing this one, right, then it is going to validate a condition. So now as of now I'm using like a 1 month before. So then after I'm choosing an advanced. So if you go with advanced, so whatever the size, number of records you are going to deal, so the corresponding things is available here. So if you would like to, like add any of the actions in a specific time period, then you can add the scheduled actions. So now if I'm choosing, so simply I'm choosing like one of the action here. So some custom action. Okay, so some custom action I'm choosing here. So then after I'm clicking on done. So if you would like to add, if you would like to add any actions, then by default the schedule path is available, so that you can connect that one. So if you're like trying to add any new path, if you're like trying to add any new path, then you can simply add from the schedule path as well, so that it is going to execute, based on the SLA expiration date before 1 month, based on the SLA expiration date before 1 month. Okay, so like that we can define any of the actions here. Whatever the actions do you want to execute, simply you can define the corresponding schedule path. So by default it is empty. What you need to, you can click on edit, and then you can select the corresponding time period here. So whether it's like 1 month or like 1 hour or like 1 minute or maybe like so day, so whatever you want, you can simply select based on your requirement. So once you are done with this one, next whatever the actions you are going to add like do you want to send an email or like whatever the actions you want, you can simply drag and drop your assignments and decision and all those things, and you can add it here. So if you would like to add a few more scheduled actions, you can add like a schedule path one more. So here you are going to define whatever the time period you want. So like this, so you can add multiple schedule paths. So I would like to send one email alert before 10 days. I would like to send one email alert before 5 days. I would like to send one email alert before 1 day. Then what you are going to do, you are going to create three different schedule path here, so that based on these schedule path, you are going to execute whatever the actions based on our requirement. Okay, so 1 month before email alert, or 10 days before email alert, or 5 days before email alert, 1 day before email alert, all the actions you can schedule here, okay. So now I'm using a delete path, and then click on done, so that if I would like to add any of the action, for example, if I would like to add the action decision here, so these decision may be like um, scheduled action, and then I'm going to give the label. So whatever the like a name, so SLA expiration date not equal to none, is null equal to false, then if I would like to send a action, then what you can do, you can drag and drop from here. So if you're able to drag and drop, right, whatever the schedule path you have defined, from that you can execute these actions. But we are having only run immediately, we have only one action. So whatever the action do you want to execute immediately, from these action only, from this decision only, you need to segregate it. But in the case of like different scheduled actions, you can create a multiple schedule path, and then you can add the decisions here, you can add the like a decisions here. So simply what we are going to do, we are going to add the actions here. Okay. So similar way, we are having like a schedule path as well. So schedule flows as well. If you're like trying to create new flow, we are having like a scheduled trigger flow. So with the help of this one, it is going to execute at a specific time period. Okay, so here you need to schedule time so that it is going to execute automatically without invoking anything. So here what happened, in the case of if I defined, in the case of I've defined a schedule path here, then what it is going to do, whenever record is created, whenever record is updated, at that time, based on the time period, it is going to execute it. So if there is no record is created, there is no record is updated, then the schedule path never executed. The schedule path never executed. But here I have a requirement. The requirement is basically I would like to send in a notification to the users like midnight of midnight. So for example, so today, tomorrow, like few people they need to like recharge their amount. Okay. So for like out of 1,000 users, so ten users or 20 users, the recharge date is like the recharge is going to expire tomorrow. Okay, so you go with like these people, right, like whatever the Airtel and then all these companies people. So what they are going to do, they are going to send in a reminder emails, reminder like messages. So what they are going to do, so before like expiring of your recharge, so before one day or like before 2 days, they are like just reminding you as a from as like a message. So when they are like trying to remind you for that the action should not invoke from anywhere. So what they are going to do, they are like simply using scheduled actions. So with the help of scheduled actions, every day like they are going to like run the notifications. So they just run the actions, and then what they are going to do, they are going to simply send in like a reminders. So whatever the like customers they need to pay, simply they are going to like send in a reminders to the customers. So with the help of this one,
Hello, Shrikant, you are not audible. Hello.
every month, sorry, every month 30. So do you want to execute, then you can select the corresponding start date and then start time, and then you can go with so daily, weekly, or like once. So depending upon our requirement, you can choose this one. So then after, what you need to do, you need to like execute remaining things here, you need to execute remaining things here, whatever the actions available in our regular flow, everything is available here, everything is available here. Action, subflow, assignment, decision, all these things available here. What you can do, you can add a object, and then you can add actions here, you can add actions here. So these actions will invoke based on the time frame what we have defined here. Okay, so irrespective of the DML operation, by default it is going to execute based on the time trigger what you have decided, what you have set here. So in the case of our like record trigger flows, whatever the schedule path we are having, if DML operation is performed, then only the schedule path will execute, then only the schedule path will execute. But in the case of our scheduled flows, what they are going to do, they are like simply sending, they are like simply executing actions based on these time frame, based on these time frame. Okay, so we are having like a little bit difference between these scheduled path as well as scheduled flows. So scheduled flows will execute irrespective of the DML operation, whatever the time defined, whatever the, like a time trigger you have defined. In the case of these in the case of like these scheduled path, it is going to like execute, it is going to schedule whenever DML operation perform, and then the corresponding condition is satisfied, then only it is going to execute. otherwise it won't execute. Okay, so that's why, do you want to execute any of the actions without any without like any DML operations, then you can go with the schedule path. Within the schedule path also you can add the subflows, or like you can add the actions, whatever the actions available in our like auto launch flow, same actions are available here. But in the case of like auto launch flow, that should be invoked by another process. But in the case of like the scheduled path, it should be invoked, uh, based on the time trigger of what you have defined here, so if you would like to modify, you can simply click on editor, and then you can change the these time trigger, whatever the time trigger you are having, you can change the time trigger here. So do you want like execute from 30th onwards, every day, every midnight, 12 a.m., then you can use these option. So simply click on done, so that what happened, right, it is going to execute actions every day like night 12 a.m. So what they are going to do, so at this moment they are like trying to get the users list, so who are like whose um, amount they are going to expect. So simply they are like trying to get the user list, and then they are going to send in an email here, they are going to send in an email here. Okay, so are you able to understand what we are discussing here? Scheduled actions and then schedule the path.
Yes.
Okay, so just like try to
Hello, Shrikant, your voice is
scheduled
breaking.
path is scope is different. Sorry.
Your voice is breaking, Shrikant.
So for everyone, or like
Yeah, for everyone.
For everyone.
so is it fine now, or still you are facing any audio
No,
issue?
no, it is fine.
Okay, so you just need to get the difference of these scheduled flows as well as scheduled path. Scheduled path, as I mentioned, whenever DML operation is performed, then only it is going to execute, and then it is going to execute only once. It is going to execute only once. So, for example, if you would like to send in a reminder notification before 10 days of launch, then what you need to do? You need to go with do you want a notification like every month? Do you want to send notification every month, or do you want to send notification to the like every week? So if you would like to repeat the scenario, then schedule path is, it won't work. What you need to go with these corresponding you need to go with these corresponding schedule flows. With the help of schedule flows, you can with the help of schedule flows, uh, you can like schedule the time, so that they are able to like execute the these path. So here, whatever the actions you are having, you can simply drag and drop corresponding actions, and then you can execute whatever the actions you want. So like assignment, decision, and then collection sort. So all the actions available here, you can simply drag and drop, and then you can implement it as it is. So what you have implemented in our auto launch flow, similar way we can implement in our schedule flows as well. Okay, so apart from that, we are having like one more. So that is I'm like just giving a touch base. So you should know about like these features. Because of it, I'm just giving a touch base. But once you started, right, remaining implementation, you can like get it as it is. So if you go with record trigger flow, or like auto launching flow, or scheduled flow, so whatever it is, everything is same only. So if you go with these four flows: platform event flow, record trigger flow, scheduled trigger flow, auto launch flow. If you go with any one of these flows type, remaining actions as it is. Only the difference it is the way of invocation. So in the case of record trigger flow, it is invoked by a DML operation. In the case of scheduled trigger flow, it is invoked based on the time what you have defined. In the case of like auto launch flow, it should be invoked by other flows, or like other process. Platform event flow, it should be invoked by platform events invoked. Platform events invoked. So these four types of flows are like having the similar type of approach, and you are going to like implement same type of actions, and same type of events, same type of properties only. But in the case of like a screen flow, it is little bit different. In the case of like screen flow, it is little bit different. So in screen flow, we can build the screens, so for example, if you would like to create an account recorder, then what you need to, you need like go with a new, you need like go with a new account record. then after se- then after select the corresponding record type. Then after you need to populate the values. Then finally you are going to save the record here. But I have a requirement. The requirement is basically from these account directly I would like to create an opportunity. From this account directly I would like to create an opportunity, or like from these account I would like to create another child record. So I don't want navigate to the child record creation. So I would like to create a child record from here itself. So then what you can do, you can simply prepare a screen here, and then you can add like this. So if you see here, right, it is one of the flow screen flow I have implemented. So here what I'm trying to do, whatever the opportunity name, stage, close date, you can enter this value. So now I'm like simply giving a value as a stage, and then I'm going to give qualification. So close date, I'm giving the close date, and then click on next, so that I'm going to display next set of field values here. So lead source, whatever the like a lead source, and then whatever the forecast category. So forecast category type. So you can populate all these values, and then you can simply click on submit. So that what happened, it is going to create one opportunity under this account. It is going to create one opportunity under this account. So sometimes what happened, you need to refer these account details, you need to refer these account details. Based on these details you need to create an opportunity. So at the time if you are like having two different skills, always you need to flip one tab to the another tab. Rather than doing like this, in the case of do you need like refer other record values and you need to create another record, then you can go with such kind of operations here. So similar way, if you go with home, in your home also, like do you want to add any quick creation, do you want to create records quickly, so then you can add actions in your home screen. You can add actions in your home screen. If I would like to create a quick account, or like quick contact, or like a quick opportunity, so do you want to create any of the action quickly, then you can add the corresponding flows here. You can add whatever the flows you have created, you can add here. So that rather than navigating to these objects and all those things, they can directly create records here. Sometimes we may be having a very less time, and we need to create an flows, or like we need to create like records over here. So if you have a such kind of requirement, you can simply log in, and then you can create records here. Rather than navigating to the tab and then click on new button and all those things, you can directly display the form here. From this form you can create the records. So if you see here, right, so we are trying to create an account name, and then like a phone, account industry. So all these values by default I would like to create. Then what I can do, simply I am going to use a test, and then click on next. So here I am going to populate different values here, and then if I click on submit, it is going to create the record. So do you want to like divide your screen into two parts or like three parts? So you can simply go with this screen flow like this. So here what happened, in first screen I am collecting few values. When I click on next, I am like populating remaining values, then finally click on submit here. In the case of like a previous, I'm populating the values here. So then after I'm populating I can like change the values whatever the previously I have populated. So then after if you would like to click on continue, so you can like change the values, and then you can click on next, then finally you can submit it. Okay, so this is the way we can create records here. This is the way we can create records here. Okay, so if you would like to design such kind of screens, then we are having an option called screen flows. We are having an option called screen flows here. Okay, so now if I would like to create a screen flow, then what you can do, you can like go with a new flow, and then you need to select the type as a screen flow. Then after create it, so that it is going to like available like this. So then after, so whatever the screens do you want to build, you need to drag and drop here. You need to simply drag and drop here. So if you would like to build the screen, so here in our home screen, what happened, I am able to I am able to see two screens. In first screen I am displaying these basic details, and second screen I am like trying to display like annual revenue created, so booking forecast, pipeline amount. So then finally you can submit it. Two screens available, and you can navigate from one screen to the another screen. You can navigate from one screen to the another screen. So now you have a requirement, you need to build like two screens. First screen you need to like display opportunity information. Second screen you need to build like a same opportunity details. Okay, so in your opportunity information, whatever the data you are having, you need to categorize into two screens or three screens. Okay, for example, if you're like trying to submit any of the job application, so if you're like submitting job application, all the details you may not enter in a single screen. Okay, what you are going to do, so first you are like trying to fill your like personal information. So then after like if you're having any professional information, you are going to fill that one. So then after you are going to fill, you are going to fill like whatever the academics. So such kind of details you are going to fill. Finally you are going to review, and then you can submit the actions. Finally you are going to review, and then you can submit the actions. So similar way, so do you want to like build your application, build your like a screen into three parts or like four parts? You can build a screen here. So we are having a screen option is there, just drag and drop. So here you need to design your screen, you need to design your screen. So whatever the fields do you want display, whatever the title do you want display, everything you can customize here. Everything you can customize here. So if you would like to go with the fields, what type of fields available, from which object do you want like create the fields, you can select the corresponding object name. So I would like to prepare for a opportunity. So then I am going to choose a opportunity here. So record, and object is basically opportunity. So here I am going to choose available for input and then available for output. So earlier these option was not there, but later in recent years, maybe like about 2 years or 3 years back, they have introduced concept called fields. Earlier we don't have any option. What we need to do, so directly we can go with the components. From the components we can drag and drop properties. So here if I would like to get the pick list here, if I would like to get the pick list, you need to build on your own. In the case of if I would like to get add these options, you need to build on your own. But nowadays what happened, right, with the help of these fields, so whatever the field you are able to drag and drop, automatically it is going to adjust it. And then so if you would like to divide your screen, if you would like to divide your screen, so screen properties, so do you want to like a display header, so whatever the like a header, do you want display or height, you are able to control here. So similar way, so do you want to like do you want to like remove your footer, or like do you want to like display your footer, you are able to control here. So here what we're trying to do, if I would like to display pass button, then you can simply use this option. If you would like to hide pass button, then you can simply use this option, so that pass button hide. So similar way, previous button, so in the case of like a first screen, there is no previous. So in the case of like first screen there is no previous, then what we are going to do, we are going to hide this one. In the case of like next button, do you want to like use a same name, or do you want like replace the like label based on these next button option, you can see it here. So now we are having like a next button, I am going to use custom label, I am going to use custom label next. So by default what happened, it is available as, by default it is available as like a finish. But rather than displaying finish, I would like to customize my button, I would like to customize my button. Then what I'm doing, simply I am keeping like a next here, so that what happened, it is going to update button label here. So and then we are having show header, so we are having like a API name, so label of your screen, so all the things available here, all the things available here, label, API name, and then so whatever the like show header, so do you want to show and hide header, you are able to control here. And in the case of like if you would like to change the text here, you can change this corresponding text value as well. Whatever the like header properties you are having, I am going to change opportunity info, so that we are able to get this option, whatever the header we are having. So within this header, if you would like to, if you would like to like add any of the data, you can simply add the corresponding fields, but generally header we are like hiding. So and then whatever the fields do you want display, whatever the fields do you want display, you can simply drag and drop here. And your screen do you want like divide into two parts, then what you can do, in our component section, we are having a concept called section here, we are having a concept called section here. So if you're using this section, you can divide your screen into multiple parts, you can divide your screen into multiple parts. If you are not using this section option, then what happened, right, you, whatever the data, whatever the fields you are going to add here, by default it is going to consider as a single row only. So entire thing from here to here, it is going to display as a single row only. But I don't want display like that. I don't want display like that. What I would like to do, I would like to divide my screen into three columns or four columns or like two columns. Then what you need to do, if you would like to divide, you need to go with the component. Within the component, drag to the bottom. Within the bottom, you are able to see this section option here. So here, if you go with this section, you can divide your columns here. You can divide, you can column, you can divide your columns here. If I would like to add two columns, or I would like to add three columns, or I would like to add four columns. So here you can add up to four columns here. Okay. So if you would like to make it one is small and another one is like a large, you are able to control like this. So here what happened? So first one is these value is basically, second one is small, and then first one is large here. Okay, so similar way, do you want to control this one? Do you want to control how you want to display, these corresponding sections with the help of these section options? You are able to do it here. So now I would like to go with only two. I don't want to display four sections here. I would like to go with only two. So that's why what I'm going to do, I'm using only two columns here. So then after, set component visibility. So here, by using always our conditions are met, or here custom logic. So here what we're going to do, if you would like to show this section or hide this section with the help of previous section values, then you can go with these component visibility. These component visibility. For example, so previous section, if I have selected a country as India, then I'm going to display such a few values. In the case of a previous section, if I'm selecting country as some different country, USA or UK, then I need to display different section. So if you would like to show and hide entire sections, if you would like to show and hide entire sections, you are able to control with the help of these component visibility. With the help of these component visibility, always all conditions are met, all conditions are met with R operator, or you can go with the customized logic here. So based on record previous options, so do you want to show and hide any of the section? So if you would like to show and hide, you are able to control here. You are able to control here. So now if I would like to add the properties, if I would like to add the properties here, whatever the opportunity name I'm trying to add here. So then after, close date I'm trying to add here. So in the case of, if you're adding outside of this section, right, then what happened, if you see here, right, entire section is occupied by only stage. Entire section is occupied by stage. So if you would like to add, a stage again in a section, then what you need to do, you can simply drag and drop here, and then you can add a next stage value here. If you're adding within the section, right, then what happened, it is occupied half of your screen part. So otherwise what happened, it is going to occupy entire section. So like this, whatever the data you want, you can simply add it here. Whatever the fields you want, you can simply add it here. So once you are able to add, right, once you are able to add, right, whatever the visibility. So if I would like to show or hide, so I would like to modify the values where we want to store these values. Everything you are able to customize here. Everything you are able to customize here. So generally what happened, whenever screen is implemented, from screen to the our database, we need to provide in a connection. We need to provide in a connection. So here whatever the value you have entered in this name, you need to set it to the proper, field value, so that it is going to create record in our opportunity. So otherwise what happened, right, it won't create it. So what you need to do, whatever the value you have entered in a name, that should be mapped with the opportunity name. Whatever the value you have entered in the closed data, that should be matched with the closed data field. And whatever the value you have entered in stage, that should align with that should mapped with the stage field in our opportunity object. Like that, each and every field you need to map with a corresponding object. So if you are using a record, then no need to do all these things. If you are not using a record and you need to build on your own, at that time you need to perform these activities. But if you are using a record, right, no need to perform all these activity. So that you just need to drag and drop. So that what happened, right? No need to add any of the actions here. No need to add the any of the extra actions here, it will reduce your efforts. Along with that, it will reduce the corresponding pick list option properties. Pick list option properties here. So if you are able to add any of the new pick list value in your object, automatically that is available here. And if you remove any of the pick list in your pick list option, by default that is like removed here. So in the case of if you go with normal options, right, then what happened, you need to add the corresponding options manually. For example, if you would like to display pick list, we are having a pick list option available here. Pick list option available here. So in the case of like before these records, we need like implement like this. So here what happened, by default pick list is there. So these pick list you need to give the name. You need to give the name, and then what are the options you need to display within this pick list also you need to enter here. So here we are having like a choice in sense what are the options you need to display. So choice one, that means choice two, choice three, like that. Whatever the options you need like display, all the actions you need to enter here. You need to enter here. So then after, what are the like value, the config, where do you want to store these corresponding pick list option? So those field you need to map. Those field you need to map. So rather than doing like this, so Salesforce reducing our efforts, Salesforce reducing our efforts, so that you can directly add the fields based on the record. Whatever the record you have selected, based on this record, you can directly add the properties. So if you're adding this property, right, no need to add any pick list manually, or like no need to like add properties. So whatever the properties applicable on the object, same properties that is like mapping here. Same properties that is mapping here. Okay, so no need to implement any extra properties here. Whatever the like properties you have implemented for your object, same thing applicable here. Okay, so and then we are like do you want to go with the field visibility? So sometimes what happened, right, based on the field selection, this field selection, you need to show and hide other fields. If you have a such kind of requirement, you can go with the set field visibility. With the help of this one, you are able to control the fields. So similar way, we are having some advanced option. So here you are going to like use whatever the like whatever the options available in whatever the like data available in your record, by default that is populating here. Okay, so here mainly we need to like go with we need to go with fields, how you are going to add it, and then the visibility. So then after, whatever the fields you want like display, so you can like add other fields as well. So I am going to give the, I'm simply adding here, and then next step, order number, like this. We can add all the fields. So whatever you want, you can simply add here. So once you are done, so you need like click on done, right? So for that purpose, simply click on done. Your screen is one screen is built here. So now if you would like to go with the second screen, what are the fields do you want display in second screen? You can simply add one more screen, and then you need to connect. So now what I'm going to do, first I'm like trying to connect from screen flow to the our first screen, and then I'm going to add the second screen. Within the screen, whatever the content do you want to display, you can simply add the corresponding content. So here already we are having like fields, right? So if you would like to go with the same opportunity fields, I'm going to like add opportunity here, whatever the opportunity, and then whatever the fields of opportunity, you can simply use it here. So already we have added few, right? So price book id I'm trying to add, and then quantity, tracking number. So you can add values like this. So if you don't want this one, and you need like a section wise, again you can go to the component. So if you are like scrolling to the bottom, you are able to see section. So with the help of like section, you can divide your screen into two parts, and then you can add the fields. Okay, so I'm like implementing this one. So here i'm like trying to I'm like trying to change the properties. So whatever the like header, so I'm going to like hide the header. and then whatever the footer, I'm going to remove pass button, remove pass button, and I'm like trying to simply display previous button along with the finish. So in our first screen, what I'm like trying to do, I'm like trying to display next button only. But in our second screen, what I'm trying to do, I'm like trying to display previous and then finish. So you can if you want, you can like rename these finish and then previous button. But generally, if you're filling all the details, then you are going to either submit or like finish. You are going to like click on either submit or finish. So depending upon client requirement, whatever the name they suggested, we can go with either like finish or like submit here. Okay. So if you would like to go with submit, then you need simply go with the finish option and use a custom label so that it is allow us to enter the data here. So I'm clicking on submit. Okay, so that what happened, right? It is going to it is going to add whatever the label you have specified here. So tracking number, and then and then here it is like quantity. So these two fields I have added. If you would like to add more values, you can simply add it. So once you are done with these changes, you can simply click on done. We have two errors. I need to give the name here, screen 2. Now second screen also created. Now I'm like trying to connect these two. When I click on next, then by default it is going to it is going to execute. It is going to simply display the second screen. Okay, so when we click on next, so then by default it will navigate to the corresponding screen. So if you would like to change the properties of your screen, so you can simply control here, show photos. So here you are able to control here you are able to control what are the buttons you will display within the footer, within the footer. So like this, you need define this one. In the case of next, in the case of next, the button label I given as next. Because of that, I got these option, and then click on next. So then after, I'm going to say, so generally, if you're defining like this, then it just displaying the data, but it won't create any records. So if you would like to create record, then again we need to use the create record option, and then whatever the resource we have selected, resource name we need to define in our create record option. Whatever the resource we have selected, same resource name we need define in our create records. So then only it is going to create the record. So if you build the screen, or if you enter the value, and if you click on a finisher, then record is not creating in the sense. So you are not added create record option. You are not added. So create record option. What you need to do first, you need to add the create record, and then create record. Once you are done with the create record, your screen. So you need to add a create record end of your screens, so that when you click on a finish or submit, your create record will be invoked, and then it is going to create record in database. So for the purpose, what you need to do, you need to go with these create records. I'm going to choose create opportunity. So I'm going to choose whatever the opportunity we have selected, same opportunity I'm going to choose it here, and then click on done, so that it is going to create the record. Okay, so like this we can do it, and then I'm going to click on save here, screen flow. Screen flow of opportunity, and click on save. So once you are done, you can activate this one. You need to activate this one. If you're activating, then we have an option to preview changes. So here what you can do, you can click on like a run, so that you are able to preview your changes. Now I'm like trying to preview my screen flow, so we'll see how it is loading. If you see here, right, in first screen, we are using like a opportunity name, stage, close date, and then whatever the remaining fields we have selected here. And if you see here, right, we have only one next button is available. And by default, whatever the actions you need, whatever the things do you want to execute, you can like specify all these things here, then click on next, and then you can click on finish, so that one record will be created here. So now I'm like simply giving some test. I'm giving some random stage, closed it, and we click on next. So if it is mandatory, then we need to enter. Otherwise, we can skip the draw. So here in our second screen, we have built the three fields, right? Those three fields available. And then if I click on submit, then the record will be created. If I click on submit, then the record will be created. And then navigate into the, so and then we clicking on like next. So the record is created, and then it is again navigating to the same first screen. But generally, what we need to write. So after this record creation, you can like go with the view page. We can go with the view page. So in the view page, whatever the details you want, you can simply display over there. So whatever the record is created, you can go with the view page in the sense, or you can navigate to the any specific URL, so that they are able to see. So in the case of like view page, right, what do you want to display? You need to like just add the corresponding property here. If I would like to display some text value, I would like to display some phone number value, I would like to display some email. So whatever you want to display, simply they add the corresponding action to the screen. Action to the screen. So for that, what we are doing? So for that, what we need to do? So simply I need to add based on the type here. So I would like to add the type, and then so type is basically I'm like selecting as a text, and then I would like to go with date as well. So date. So like this, whatever the data do you want to display, you can simply select this one. So if I'm using this one, right, you need to like specify what is the default value we need to display within this one. So what we're going to do, after record created, whatever the name available, whatever the name available. So create opp dot opportunity name, opportunity name. I'm like simply selecting name here. So similar way, what we're going to do. So in the case of like data, in the case of these data, what you need to display, the corresponding value you need to set here. Date, we are having closed date field. I'm trying to display closed date field. So if I would like to display any of the page text, you can go with these text format. These text format. So in the case of if you would like to navigate into the any specific URL, then you need to provide the URL encryption over there. Okay. So if you would like to create record, new record, then you need to create like a new screen. From the new screen, after record creation, just display these corresponding. Just display these corresponding like a detail screen here. Corresponding detail screen you need to display. So otherwise, what happened, right? if you are like creating record and again navigating to the same flow screen, then what you feel? So you feel like record not created, you need to create one more record. So if customer keep on trying to create new records, right, it's like creating a duplicate records in our object. So rather than doing like this, generally what we're going to do, once a record is created, then simply we need to navigate to the either record detail page, or like we have any like any actions it is pending, simply you can stay on the same page itself. Okay, but like don't navigate to the first screen, so that if you're able to navigate, then uh, what they're going to feel, the record not created, so that they are trying to create a few more records. Okay, so that's why what we need to do, whenever record is created, we need to navigate to the detail page, or like some thank you message kind of message you need to display. Any questions?
No, Srikant.
Okay. Sometimes, right, they are going to display some text information like thank you for creating. So we will get back to such kind of messages is there. But but do you want like navigate to the any specific page, you can add the page value, and within that you can like add the corresponding like URLs, whatever you want, you can specify here, so that they can navigate to the any type. Okay, any questions so far?
Srikant, that's clear.
So I'm having a small request from your end. What you can do, so try to create one object here, one object, employee, or like a job. Okay, job application. Try to create one custom object called job application. What you need to do, you need to like uh, display first information in first screen. Prepare a screen flow with these value, three different screens. Okay, four different screens. So what you need to do, in first screen, you need to display personal information. Okay, in second screen, what you need to do, you need to display experience information. In third screen, you need to display educational information. In fourth screen, what you need to do, you need to just simply preview the data what you have selected in your previous screen. And then in fourth screen, like you can provide an option called submit. So if you click on submit, then the record should be created, then the record should be created. So in the case of like education information, we need to display previous and then next. So we need to display previous and then next here. In the case of like experience also, you need to display previous and then next. Okay, so in the case of like personal information, what we're going to do, we are like simply display next button here. Okay, so like this, try to prepare a screen. So once you are done with the record creation, you should navigate to the corresponding detail page of the record. Okay, so whatever the record you have created, you should navigate to the corresponding record detail page. So now, if I'm like opening any one of the record, right here, account or like account any of the record, right? Once the record is created, then what happened? It is navigating to the this corresponding screen. So similar way, in your like screen flow also, once you click on submit, you should navigate to the corresponding screen. Okay, so for that you need to use some URL activity. If you're using like URL functions, so that you are able to navigate it, you are able to navigate it. Okay, so just try to build this section. So these sections, and as well as fields of like a section, so that you will like get some knowledge about these screen flows. So tomorrow, like we can like discuss more. We can like discuss more about like these screen flows. So actually, I'm having a demo because of the time like hurry. Uh, from your end, what you can do, just try to build this one. And then today we discussed one more scenario, right? And you miss that scenario, like these requirements. So
Yes.
try to complete these two and then share with me.
Okay, Sri.
Is it clear for everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
Sri.
Shrikant.
It's good.
Okay,
Then
Shrikant.